Have you considered why Earth supports abundant life, while Mars and the Moon appear lifeless? The answer surrounds us, though it remains invisible. It is the air, an invisible layer that protects us, influences our weather, and affects our daily choices. From the clouds above to the oxygen we breathe, this thin layer sustains life on our planet. Today, we will explore the atmosphere, examining its composition, layers, and its role in shaping weather and climate. Composition of the atmosphere. You might think air is just oxygen, but that's only a tiny part of the story. The air around us is a mixture of gases. Nitrogen takes the biggest slice of the pie, around 78%. It doesn't support life directly, but it maintains steady oxygen levels. Next comes oxygen, about 21%, the gas every living being depends on to breathe and burn fuel. The remaining 1% might sound small, but it includes gases that make a huge difference. Argon, carbon dioxide, CO2, essential for photosynthesis and responsible for trapping heat. Neon, helium, ozone, and traces of methane and water vapor. Water vapor may vary from place to place. It's the reason for humidity, clouds, and rain. And though carbon dioxide is present in small amounts, it acts like Earth's thermostat, controlling how warm or cool our planet stays. Structure of the atmosphere. The atmosphere isn't the same everywhere. As we go higher, the air gets thinner, colder, and different in character. Scientists divide it into 5 layers, like a protective multi-layered shield. Troposphere, the lowest layer, where we live, breathe, and where weather happens. It extends approximately 12 kilometers. Here, the temperature drops as we go higher, about 1 degree Celsius for every 165 meters. This is where clouds form, winds blow, and rain falls. Stratosphere. Extending from 12 kilometers to 50 kilometers, this layer is calm and stable, ideal for flying aircraft. It contains the ozone layer, which protects us from harmful ultraviolet rays. Without it, life would burn under the sun's harsh radiation. Mesosphere. From 50 kilometers to 80 kilometers. It's the coldest layer, where meteors burn up before reaching Earth, lighting up the sky as shooting stars. Thermosphere. From 80 kilometers up to 400 kilometers. It's extremely hot here. Temperatures can soar above 1,000 degrees Celsius. This is where auroras, the northern and southern lights, dance across the sky and where satellites orbit. Exosphere, the outermost layer, merging into space. Here, air molecules are so far apart that they can travel hundreds of kilometers before colliding. Weather and climate. Now that we know what the atmosphere is made of, let's talk about what it does. It controls weather and climate. The weather is what's happening right now. It changes daily. Sunny morning, rainy afternoon, chilly evening. That's weather. It's influenced by temperature, humidity, air pressure, wind, and precipitation. On the other hand, climate is the average of weather over a long period, usually 30 years or more. So, when we say, India has a tropical monsoon climate, we're describing the long-term pattern, not a single day's weather. The sun is the ultimate driver of both weather and climate. Different parts of the Earth receive different amounts of sunlight because of its spherical shape and tilted axis. This uneven heating sets air in motion, creating winds, pressure belts, and rainfall patterns. Near the equator, warm air rises, creating low pressure and heavy rainfall. At the poles, cold air sinks, creating high pressure and dry conditions. The movement of air between these zones shapes global weather systems. Movement of air between pressure zones. Imagine Earth as a gigantic heat engine, always trying to balance hot and cold air. Near the equator, the sun shines almost directly overhead all year. This heats the land and water intensely. Warm air becomes lighter and starts to rise, creating a region of low pressure, known as the equatorial low or doldrums. As this warm air rises, it cools, condenses, and forms thick clouds and heavy rainfall. That's why tropical regions are lush and green. Now, the air that rises at the equator moves toward the north and south, around 30 degrees latitude, where it cools and sinks again, forming high-pressure zones called the subtropical highs. The sinking air here is dry, giving rise to many of the world's great deserts, like the Sahara, Arabian, and Australian deserts. The air doesn't stay still, though. It moves back toward the equator along the surface, creating the trade winds. These steady winds blow from the northeast in the northern hemisphere and from the southeast in the southern hemisphere. Between 30 degrees and 60 degrees latitudes, another set of circulation cells forms, the Ferrel cells. Here, warm air from the subtropics meets cold air coming from the poles, forming the polar front, a zone of storms and unsettled weather. This is why countries like the UK and parts of northern USA often have cloudy, rainy, or windy conditions. At the poles, 90 degrees latitude, the air is extremely cold and dense, so it sinks, creating high-pressure zones. This air flows outward toward lower latitudes and meets warmer air, completing the global circulation pattern. This system of rising and sinking air, combined with Earth's rotation, forms the global wind belts, the trade winds, westerlies, and polar easterlies. These winds don't just move air, they carry heat, moisture, and energy across the planet, driving ocean currents, influencing monsoons, and shaping the climate zones we live in. So, every gentle breeze or roaring storm you feel is part of this massive, invisible conveyor belt powered by the sun. But today, human activities, like burning fuels and deforestation, are disturbing this natural balance. The rise in greenhouse gases is altering climates worldwide, causing global warming, melting glaciers, and extreme weather. The air around us may be invisible, but it's the most precious gift of nature. It shields us from the sun's rays, keeps Earth warm, helps us breathe, and carries water across continents as rain. As we pollute it, we pollute our own future. So, let's care for this invisible blanket. Plant trees, reduce emissions, and make sure the air we pass on to the next generation stays pure and life-giving. Because without air, life isn't just difficult, it's impossible. So, take a deep breath, and remember, you're breathing in the miracle of Earth itself.